May is a fabulous time of year and we all love zooming outside when the weather's like this. But there's one problem with May. This is the time between May and October when the ticks are around and they bite you, potentially, and infect you with Lyme disease. Lyme disease is caused by a bacteria, Borrelia burgdorferi, and the ticks spread it. Wild mammals and birds infected with the bacteria act as hosts, and when a tick feeds on an infected animal, it then carries the bacteria for the rest of its life. If that infected tick bites a human, it may transfer the disease through its saliva. And if you're infected with it and you don't catch it in time, you get Lyme disease, and some people never fully recover. Every year, thousands of people get infected with it. So it is really worth watching out for and making sure you know what to do and how you prevent it. The estimates as to how many people catch Lyme in the UK every year vary, but research suggests it could be more than 9,000 cases a year. What everybody does agree on is that it's the fastest growing vector-borne disease in Europe. I caught Lyme disease 5-6 years ago. I got severe symptoms of flu, low energy, I felt really ill, and I had a red ring on my leg without a red spot in the middle, the bullseye rash. The typical symptom is the bullseye rash, but only 2 out of 3 people get that, and it's the only disease which actually has that rash, that round circle with a spot in the middle. I took it to my GP, showed him, and he said, no, it's similar to Lyme, but it's not. So then after a few months, I had massive inflammation symptoms, high CRP and ESR symptoms in my blood. I had a resting pulse rate of 100, and I was really fit, so that was way, way too high for me. And I felt completely lifeless and lost all energy and really quite sick. And these are very typical symptoms. Again, the GPs didn't think it was Lyme disease. They refused to believe it because it was really not that well known 5 years ago. It's becoming more so, but not hugely well known now. And they prescribed steroids for about 4 or 5 years. And it was only then, when I really began to query what they were doing, that I had another test, and that proved I had positive symptoms of Lyme disease in my blood, and then I was treated with massive doses of penicillin and doxycycline. Now, the test for this Lyme disease is really not straightforward. You don't always get a positive result when you've got it. You can get a positive result when you haven't got it. And there are different types of tests. And the one on the NHS is the one that most people use in the UK, but it's not easy to ascertain it from that. It has to be caught at just the right time for it to be positive. So it's not a straightforward story. Many people never recover from Lyme disease, and I still suffer from it. I got Lyme arthritis in my knee. I'm quite stiff on it, and I have to have weekly injections of a drug in order to keep my inflammation indices low, because it's triggered massive inflammatory reactions in my body. And if I don't have these weekly injections, my inflammatory indices goes rocketing up again. But I'm lucky that the National Health Service have sorted me out in the end, but I am reliant on drugs. And my rheumatologist thinks it's highly likely that I'm going to be on these drugs all my life, which obviously is no way perfect. So, what do you need to know about Lyme disease to make sure that you do not get it? First of all, ticks are everywhere, particularly in the Scottish Highlands, in the London parks. In fact, infected ticks have been found in parks and urban gardens in every county of the UK, as well as woodlands and heathland. So at this time of year, if you're outside, you should really make sure, if you're in long grass or in woodland, that your lower legs or your body is covered so you cannot be bitten by a tick. Even if you're lying on the lawn in the summer, they reckon you should really lie on a rug. And if you've got long grass, if you actually mow it and keep it short, that does discourage ticks because they don't like bright sunlight. If you have got any bits of bare skin exposed, use insect repellent spray.
And where you can, stick to defined paths to avoid brushing against vegetation where ticks are likely to be lying in wait.
And then when you come in from having been outside, you should really check yourself thoroughly. They like warm places, so they like them in the crooks of elbows, they like being in your hairline, in the knees, in your groin, all those sort of places. You need to inspect them really well. And if you see a tick on your body, and they are about the size of a poppy seed, so they're really, really tiny, you should remove it with a tick removing tool or a pair of very sharp tweezers. The Caudwell Lyme Company is a charity that was set up in 2016 by John Caudwell, who's a well-known businessman and philanthropist. He and many members of his family caught Lyme disease, and he had huge problems in dealing with it. And so he began to raise awareness of it. And the point of his charity is to actually fund research to find a reliable testing method for Lyme and a reliable treatment, so that every patient who suffers from it in the UK can get great treatment from the NHS.
Early treatment is key to quick and full recovery of Lyme disease. So if you do develop symptoms after a tick bite, see your doctor straight away for antibiotic treatment. As well as the telltale rash, there are many other acute symptoms to look out for: headaches, confusion, fever, etc. Go to the Caudwell Lyme website for a comprehensive list.
This charity is the real go-to for Lyme disease. They have given me so much one-to-one information on my condition, and they were just so helpful. They can point you in the right direction, they can work out a strategy for you. It really is an invaluable resource. The charity carried out a survey in 2016, and they found out that a third of sufferers had Lyme disease for 10 years before being diagnosed. And what's more, a third of all sufferers of Lyme disease never fully recovered from it. So that just shows you what a devastating impact on your life a tiny tick can have.